What would you do if your boss manager showed up at your house after you called out sick and waited outside the door? They'd leave disappointed. I'm on call 24/7. When I'm sick, I put my phone on airplane mode after I let them know. I'm already doing them a favor by accepting the low wages they offer for the responsibility they ask of me. Safe to say I wouldn't even know they were there. They would never get past the fence that surrounds my house with all 4 of my dogs inside of it. They could know I was there, come all the way out there, and still not be able to deny the fact that I didn't know they were there. I'd also accept the more competitive pay from somewhere else in the same field of work. Not my boss, but a couple of co-workers came to my house to see if I had actually broke my ankle. They mistook my baby sister for me, and one guy yelled out of the car window, "Hey Asa, you gonna eat all that dog food yourself?" and busted up my trash cans. I couldn't believe it. I had to file a complaint with corporate and everything. One of the guys filed a counter complaint because I may have been lying about my broken ankle, but that's another story. We were just having fun on the lift in the warehouse. First off, my boss wouldn't do this, but for a grand, let's say a boss of mine did. My apartment breezeway is exactly that, very breezy. I guess my building is oriented perfectly to catch and direct the wind right past my front door. In Oklahoma winds, it's akin to a wind tunnel, and at this time of year, no amount of heavy clothing is enough for that. I'd set a timer to see how long his stupid ass could take it before giving up to get out of the cold. Last boss, find a boxing ring, call ahead and pick some ring time and offer to pay for the fight, inform my boss of the fight time and when I'll meet him. Winner goes home, loser works close for a week and shuts their fat fucking face. Current boss, thank him for bringing cold meds unprompted and assure him I'll get COVID tested before I go to sleep tonight so he knows if he needs to tell the office. I'd let them wait. Also, this is my go-to I must be coming down with something dream. I'll have a very realistic dream that all my coworkers have relocated to my home for the day. They're trying to be nice about it, but they're all annoyed that I'm still asleep. 10 times out of 10, I'll be sick with the flu by mid-morning. Every time. So when I get that dream today, I just call the police when they knock, you don't answer, and they don't leave. Then, I would pretend like I had no idea it was them. Tell the cops are not feeling well and felt extra vulnerable when someone showed up and would not leave, only to find out gasp that it was their work showing up to harass you. File a police report, which you give to HR the next day. Years ago, my boss did this. I had the flu. High fever, cough, and best of all, a really runny nose. I wiped my nose with my hand, opened the door, and greeted the fucker with a nice, long handshake, making sure to squeeze the schnoz juice into every line and crevice on his palm. I showed up for work 2 days later. He was out for a week. My boss showed up at my house after I quit my district manager job the same day. I sent a resignation email at the end of the day and turned in all keys and company property. Apparently he didn't see it and thought something had happened to me. He was worried when I didn't show up to work and none of the employees could reach me. Let them in and thanked them for bringing whatever it was that they brought. Because if I call out sick, my next 2 supervisors, and most of my team are calling or texting to see if I need anything. We do that every time any of us call out. If you call out, you've got like a dozen people ready to drop everything to help. I would ask her to leave, and if she did not, I would call the police. I used to work in a pretty toxic environment at a jail, and sometimes a supervisor would have the police go by the house for a welfare checkup. If someone called in sick, they never did it to me, but they did it several times to several people. Call the police and say there is a strange man outside with a camera taking pictures of my kids playing in the pool in the backyard. He's putting the camera over the fence and snapping photos. I did this to the Hoa guy in Arizona when he was taking pictures. Had half the PG show up. The guy quit the next day. Call HR and report them for harassment, as well as file a police report to document it. If they were concerned for me, they had my emergency contact information and/or could ask the local law enforcement to conduct a wellness check. I would have to assume this was malicious. I worked for someone who did this to a coworker. He also came by my house for something when I had twisted my ankle. Forget what it was, but we talked at the door for a few minutes. My ankle was purple and black and blown up like a balloon, so I guess he was satisfied. My boss is a good person. Honestly, I'd assume they're dropping off a gift or some food or something. That said, I would find it quite odd they didn't text or call first. I probably have a feeling like something absolutely horrible happened in there in a daze. This is extremely unprofessional of your manager. Don't answer the door. If they ask about it, tell them you were on sleeping pills or took a drowsy cold medication. I'd however be looking for a new job. I wouldn't tolerate this behavior from the manager, who lives on the other side of the country. That would show real dedication on his part. Fortunately, my manager isn't some weirdo who micromanages my every move. He's a professional and treats the people who work for him like the professionals we are. Answer the ring doorbell and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't come to the door right now. I'm afraid that in my weakened condition I could take a nasty spill down the stairs and subject myself to further school or work absences. I'm in the Philippines and my boss is in Seattle." First I'd be surprised, followed by a terrifying realization that my boss doesn't know my address. I'd whatever the fuck that is on my front door, but that is not my boss. Take photos, videos of me confronting them. I'd ask them if there was a work-related emergency, or if they wanted to verify I was sick. Damning evidence of their bad behavior in case I lost my job. I'd quickly eat something colorful, drink some milk, and then take some syrup of Ipecac. As soon as I feel it working, I'd open the door and say, "Hell off." As I produce a Technicolor yawn, I'd wonder what wormhole I fell into while I was asleep that dumped me into a bizarre universe where something that has never happened and would never happen turned out to actually happen. Make a fake recording of myself sounding sick to play when the doorbell rings, and after picking up my best friend and girlfriend, we'd all participate in a parade in downtown Chicago. Be very surprised, because my boss lives about 800 miles away. Also, I'm sick, which means I'm not answering the door, or I'm sick, which means I am not answering the door. Show up on the other side hacking up a lung and telling them in a hoarse and stuffy voice, "No. Sorry. Can't open the door. Don't want you to catch it, boss lady." I likely wouldn't notice. The doorbell doesn't work, and my apartment is in the basement, which is well insulated. I can't hear much of anything from outside. I'd wonder why they wasted all the time flying down here, but it would be nice to meet them, since I haven't. I work from home on a location-diverse team. I'm sorry. In my weakened condition I could take a nasty spill down the stairs and subject myself to further absences. Thank you for stopping by. I will invite her in. I assume it's important. Or maybe she's being super sweet and checking up on me. She knows my health isn't the best. Well, since my boss doesn't check up on me, and since if I called out sick, I would be sick, then I answer the door to see why he was there. I assume you mean faked being sick. The only time I've ever done that I didn't leave the house. Just needed a day at home alone. Mix up some chunky applesauce, ketchup, and a bit of dark soda in a bowl. Answer the door and accidentally spill it on them. Answer through the ring and ask him to go to Costco to grab me chicken soup and stop at Walgreens for tissues and meds. If I called out sick, then I am unconscious in bed. So I would not do anything, since I have no idea they are there. Like, they just wait out there? Hanging out? They didn't knock or anything? I wouldn't even know they were there. Call the police and report a trespasser. Call my attorney and see if it's worth suing my employer for harassment. Leave them standing out there and refuse to acknowledge them. Boss or not, no one comes to my house uninvited. I work as an agent in my mother's real estate brokerage, so I would be unsurprised and hope she brought soup. Let them stand outside. There must not be much work to be done if he can waste part of the day like that. Call the police for stalking. Fortunately, under the labor agreement where I work, this can't happen. Chances are I'm calling in because of my digestive issues, so I make sure to shit extra loud. Without opening the door, throw around into my Remington 870 pump. The sound is unmistakable. I'd open the door and cough in his face and close it again. Yes, I am that much of a douche. First call us to the police. Then record them on video. Then send the video to HR. Welcome them with an R-15 in my arms and disrespectfully tell them to fuck off. Don't answer it. Say I didn't know they were there since I was in bed resting. Answer the door and ask them why they drove all the way out to where I live. Open the door, and tell them I quit and to get the fuck off my property. Tell her she's early for the orgy but we can go ahead and get started. Call the police and say someone is trying to break in the front door. Video record it and send it to corporate. Because that's harassment. Question their mental health. I don't call in sick if I'm not sick. I'm not salary and I'm not even acknowledging that they're there. I would wonder why he drove 2.5 hours only to be told to leave. I'd quit and tell them to get the hell off of my property. Probably call the police. That's harassment and bullying. Mine did it once. He was dropping off a gift basket,